Welcome to the Business Bada Revolution. I'm your host, Pat Honiotes. We're here to talk about doing business from the inside out because being an entrepreneur shouldn't suck. Remember, business badasses are made, not born. Welcome to the show. Hello. Haven't had my coffee yet, can you tell? Welcome to Business Bada Revolution. One of my favorite people is here with me today. This is Jeffrey Van Dyk. Jeffrey has been coaching me for about 11 years now? About 11 years, maybe even going on to 12. So he probably knows my programs better than I do. Yes, that's always been a discussion. He can surely explain them better than I can. The reason Jeffrey is here today is because we do similar work, but with different audiences, and we definitely use different terminology. But I want to give you all an opportunity to see how many different points of view there can be and how many different angles you can come at things, even when we're both coming from the same philosophical background, which is doing the inner work in order to have the outer results. So Jeffrey, would you agree that we're kind of on the same page there?
Yeah, there's definitely a Venn diagram where we overlap for sure.
Yeah. So let's just jump in because I want to get as many questions in as I can. I really worked on these. I've been wanting to pick your brain at this level for a long time. So when you first hear the phrase biz from the inside out, what does that mean to you? And don't define it formally, but just what do you get from that?
What it means to me is that we all have subconscious programming. We all have belief structures that we picked up from childhood and from our family system and from society and, the area of a country we grew up. We all have filters through which we see the world. And the vast majority of all of that, we are blind to because it is the water we swim in, right? I like to say you can't see the label of the jar while you're in it, right? Which is why people use things like coaches, right? Because you have an outside perspective that can help you see stuff that is so opaque to you that you don't even know that it is affecting your business, let alone how.
Right.
So that's how I think of it.
Some of the initial questions I get around doing this work is, a couple of them, is what does all that personal stuff have to do with my business? Because we've been taught from the time we were squirts that you don't ever mix the two. Mm-hmm. And if it's subconscious, there's nothing I can do about it. What do you think?
First, I will say, I do think there is a time and place to have some professional boundaries, right? So there are things that I'm not going to talk about in a business setting because it doesn't belong in a business setting.
Right.
But just because it's something I won't talk about in a business setting does not mean that it might not be material that's affecting what's happening in a business setting, right? So I think there's an important delineation to say those that endeavor to grow as leaders, you can't grow as a leader from strategy alone. Strategy is an aspect of it, but it's just one aspect, right? You have to be introspective and see yourself and see your blind spots. So I think there's important delineation to say, even though I might address this stuff personally, maybe with a coach or with someone else, it does not necessarily mean that I'm out there airing my dirty laundry as a leader. That's not what we're talking about. And sometimes I think people, there's this term performative vulnerability, right? Where people perform their vulnerability and kind of share their story in a way that's trying to get a specific result. That's not what we're talking about here.
Exactly.
Right? That said, here's what I would say to say, it has no bearing on my leadership. First of all, I'd be like, that's the biggest load of crap I've ever heard. And here's why. So you're telling me that you could go through an entire childhood with whatever challenges and whatever benefits you had in said childhood. You can have upbringing within your family system and within maybe a religious system and in a societal system and in a school system, and have it not show up in your leadership? Are you like, what? Are you crazy? And here's the deal. When it comes to relationships, right? If somebody is having troubles in their marriage or dating or what have you, we're accustomed to going, oh, it's because of what happened in my childhood. Oh, my mom was this way, or my parents were this way. So I tend to, let's say this. My parents were explosive, so I avoid conflict. And so when tough stuff comes up in my relationship, I tend to kind of mute and shut up. And it creates further conflict in my relationship because I don't know how to talk about this stuff because I'm so uncomfortable about it because of what happened in childhood. We are used to talking about that in certain arenas of life.
Right.
And then to say, oh, but there's this invisible line that it just doesn't ever cross into my leadership. Oh, because business doesn't also include relationships, leading people, selling people, having customers, having teams. That's all relationship driven.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So of course, we're going to take how we engage in relationships into all our relationships. You just started me off on a high horse.
Well, we don't ever mess around, Jeffrey. We just jump in and start and get going, right? So tell me this. You work with a ton of different people in different industries.
Yeah.
And so, of course, you have to have strategies and that kind of thing. But before you ever talk strategy with your client, what are you listening for that tells you whether the issue is internal or external? What are you listening for?
Two words, worldview and belief structures. I guess that's 3 words. Their worldview. How do you see the world? Right? Because how you see the world, for example, are you a glass half full or glass half empty person? Are you pessimistic or optimistic by nature? Right? Or maybe by nurture. Because that will tell me how you're going to see any given situation. Is it sky is falling? Is it might all collapse? And if it does, that tells me you're going to be risk averse, right? Which means you're probably focused on certain aspects of the business that stabilize things, but shy away from aspects of the business that move you into innovation and into being a market leader, for example, right? So that's worldview. Belief structures, which is tied into your worldview, is both how you see the world, but also how you see yourself, right? So what kind of leader do you say that you are to yourself? And I'm not talking about like talking to yourself out loud. I'm talking about the inner thoughts, especially in times of stress. Right? So let me give you an example. I have a client who's a very successful real estate developer. He's got about $500 million in the portfolio. And I share that number only to say that this happens at every level of success, wealth, income, etc. I have never encountered a leader where this material, what the material is changes, but that there is material does not change, right? So one of his identities that he doesn't talk about publicly, that he doesn't like to look at personally, but is part of the underlying hum of his belief system, is that he's a disappointment. Right? There's a whole history in his family about him feeling like a disappointment. And for confidentiality reasons, I'm not going to share more. And so everything he does comes through the lens of disappointment unless there's intervention. So when that I always start my work with clients with this leadership PhD process where we get to the heart of what that core identity is that is subconscious and running us, right? And so for him, it was, I'm a disappointment. So when we identified that, I'll never forget looking at him and saying, can you see the like snail trail of that belief system in your history as a leader and running this business? And he goes, oh my God, it's everywhere. It was every big opportunity, big leap that I did not take came because I didn't want to disappoint others. I didn't want to disappoint investors. I didn't want to disappoint my team. I didn't want to disappoint myself. I did not want to feel like a disappointment. Right. And that's really what it comes down to, is the feelings we don't want to experience because it hurts too damn bad, which is why we keep it buried. Right. Which is why we stay blind to it, which is why it keeps running in our business. So that is what I look for is, when, and then once I know what some of that core material is, when we're further down the road, working on business, working on innovation, working on strategy, I'm listening for, is the strategy unclear or unsound? Or is some of this belief structure keeping things cloudy and muddy?
How do you know? How do you recognize that, Jeffrey? How do you help your clients recognize that?
Sometimes I'll just ask them straight up, right? Hey, is there any part of you that this leap feels really big and there's some part of you that doesn't want to potentially fail and feel like a disappointment?
Right.
Is that in the mix anywhere? Right. And somebody who's done a little bit of introspection, I can usually have them just kind of turn their attention inside and look. And they go, yeah, I can feel, so what are those feelings? Sometimes it's a little shakiness in the belly, right? Tightness in the throat, a little constriction in the shoulders. Like they can feel, right? Whenever our wounds are in the mix, constriction is usually a bodily sensation. So whereas when we're really excited and aligned with something, expansion is the bodily sensation. We feel open and we breathe deeply. So one of the telltale signs is somebody's somatic experience, which is not something most of us pay attention to on our own very often.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So that's one of the telltale signs. I gotta say, one of the ways I tell is frankly my own intuition.
Okay.
Right. I'm kind of tuning in and going, is that in the mix? And usually I'll get a sense about something and kind of see a picture and I'll be like, hey, I wonder about this. And I bring something in and they go, oh crap, you're right. Right. Here's the other thing on the strategy side. I know it is cloudy if they can't paint me a clear picture.
Yeah.
And tell me the ways in which they believe the strategy will produce the outcome they're aiming at. Right. If it's unsound, that's sometimes a little bit more difficult, right? Sometimes we just have to swing for the fences and we don't know if it's going to work or not. But having been at this for 20 years now, right? And I've, God, worked with thousands of people. There are certain strategies where I'm just like, wait a minute. How do you think this is going to work again? Right. And I can look at the infrastructure in their business and go, that's not going to go. You don't have the wheels for that bus.
Got it. I've worked with a lot of people that try and outwork whatever's going on. If I just work harder, if I just do more networking meetings, if I just, what behaviors, what signals you that that's what they're doing? A lot of them won't even really admit it at a lot of times. Oh no, this is just what you have to do to get ahead.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? What do you run into that trying to outwork the issue?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, look, we live in a culture that praises that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We show up, how you been? Oh man, I'm working like a dog. And we say that as if it's a prize we're winning.
Yes.
Right. And the quantity of work or effort or time is what we talk about, not the outcomes.
Okay. Oh, good point. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, how's business going? Oh, I'm working like a dog. That's not an outcome. How is business going? We're up 30% year over year so far. It's going really well. Totally different answer. Right. Or we're down 20%. Right. I just had 2 big deals fall through, and I don't know where we're going to find, make up the gap in this quarter for the revenue. That's a very different answer.
Oh yeah, completely different. Completely different. So how do you help a client, I don't know, for better use, slow down enough to notice what's actually happening? Especially, and I know you work with a lot of already, excuse me, you work with an already successful clients a bit. Okay, they're
Hmm.
already successful. They just
Yeah.
want more, but they're exhausted. How do you get them to slow down and notice what's actually going on?
So first I'll say the clients that come to me all have a growth mindset.
Okay.
They are already people who recognize the value of doing the leadership development work alongside the business growth, right?
Okay.
They've already tried burying their head in the sand and running faster and found that the only thing that happens is their legs wear out. Right.
Yep. 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 Yep.
So, I have a benefit that way in that I don't have to kind of convert them to this idea. How do I get them to slow down? There's a number of things, and I guess I would say first and foremost, I cannot get them to slow down. They have to choose to.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Right. I get it. Yeah, I get it.
I can't make anybody do anything. That said, I can make them aware of things. And one of my favorite sayings of yours is awareness gives you choice, right? So I
Yeah.
can bring awareness. I can help create awareness that gives them more
Okay.
options and opens up more opportunities for choice. So a few things. I don't, the more successful my client is, the greater the chances that they have personal practices to slow down. And so this
Okay.
could be a meditation practice. This could be that they take a walk every morning. This could be, anything that, a yoga practice, some sort of physical practice, but something that gets them to slow down, tune in, which gives them, here's what it does. It doesn't just slow down. What it does is it gives them the 30,000 foot view
Uh-huh.
on a regular basis.
And
And
that's the
people
key.
that are hustling generally have if you're lucky, a 5,000 foot view. They're just looking at the very next thing, trying to make it go, cross the T's, dot the I's, keep moving,
Figure it
keep
out.
going, keep doing. You cannot be strategic running a business like that. So no wonder you're exhausted. Yeah, I'm hustling and oh man, I worked all night long. Yeah, well, I'm not surprised because you're not able to see around the corner if you don't have a 30,000 foot view on a regular basis.
And that's the key there is on a regular basis.
Yeah.
It can't just be when you're in trouble,
And
any
look,
of that kind
that's
of
why
thing.
my clients invest in working with me as well. I help
Mm.
them pull back and say, hey, let's step back from this a minute. Let's reconnect to what the mission of your business is, right? What's the higher purpose? What are you really after here? Because my clients, one of their bigger missions, they're all innovating in their marketplaces. That's who I work with.
Yep.
But one of the bigger missions, the quiet missions behind the innovation and creating new markets for really visionary work, is to actually change the conversation in the market itself, right? To up level the conversation for the entire marketplace. And over time, I have a 7-stage process to move them into that. But over time, that's what happens. And it happens consistently and repeatedly. But one of the things that I do with them is I keep their eye on the prize.
Right. Okay.
Right? What's the mission? How is this strategically aligned with the mission? Is it strategic? Here's an example. I have a firm with 2 guys that are partners in the firm, right? And they've been growing their company. They've been adding about $1 million to the bottom line year over year for a number of years. So they were talking about their executive team, and they believe in things like introspection, right? They have really visionary work they're bringing to the market, and the team is on board with it. But the executive members, the 2 other people that help run the company, they're like, yeah, they kind of roll their eyes around some of the stuff we believe and think about. And I was like, hold on. Right? Why are you, and so much so that one of the guys said, yeah, I don't even like our executive team meetings because I don't feel comfortable in them. I'm like, are you kidding me? It is your company, and you are not home.
Why are they?
Right. Because
why
here's
are they
why.
Still in the company? Because
they have good skill that is appropriate for the marketplace. So they bought for skill. Hired for skill. They did not hire for alignment with mission and with corporate culture.
Okay, but doesn't that affect their bottom line?
Of course it does, but we don't always see that. Right. Okay. And frankly, I think part of it is they didn't want to admit it because of, look, it's a headache to replace people. It's costly to replace people, right? You know what you're letting go of, but you don't necessarily know what you're bringing in.
Well, either way, you're paying a price, Jeffrey.
I understand. But oftentimes we're more connected to our fear of the unknown.
Okay.
What might happen if I make this change versus the devil I'm already dancing with. Right?
So you talked a little bit ago about fear of disappointing somebody, right? Mm-hmm. What are some other things that you see in your people that is a belief or that has a concept like that that's holding them back?
So we'll talk about a mixture of beliefs and actions or habits. One that another client I'm thinking about right now, conflict avoidance. I watch them in meetings and they'll kind of nod and not speak up. And then afterwards, I'll hear about what didn't work for them.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Right. And look, here's the wild thing. It's not that you can't be successful with some of these things. This guy's got a lot of stuff going for him. So, there's a lot that's working. So if you have a few places where you have your challenges, like, okay, right? But if there's one drag on his time, and this is a guy that definitely has way more money than time, right? Time is the commodity. If there is one drag on his time, it's that. Because he doesn't address stuff in the moment, in real time. He doesn't nip things in the bud. And as a result, they tend to spiral and become bigger than necessary. And then he'll often bring somebody else in to try to address the thing that spiraled that could have been nipped in the bud.
Okay.
Right?
Conflict avoidance.
And that is one simple thing. That is conflict avoidance. Right? Now, Could there be belief structures and worldviews underneath conflict avoidance? Absolutely there are, right? I don't want people to be mad at me. Okay, well, who was mad at you when you were a kid? Oh, well, if I ever disagreed with my dad, he would be furious. It was his way or the highway, right? And if I really disagreed with him, I got hit a few times. And so somewhere in his system and his body is still, it is dangerous to disagree.
Yep.
That's the
Yep.
belief, right?
Yep.
And until we highlighted, right, got our yellow highlighter out and highlighted, it is dangerous to disagree. When he looked at those words, dangerous to disagree, he was like, oh my God, that has been driving my leadership for 40 years.
So, Jeffrey, when somebody finally gets it like that, the moment where the awareness clicks is like, aha, right?
Right.
What actually changes in how they show up?
First, I would say that they have an initial, their world gets rocked a little bit because they're seeing something that's been there the whole time that was opaque to them. And they're sitting with the gravity of how, like, scanning their life often for decades, going like, holy crap, this has been running the show and I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I had a gal runs a very large company in the plumbing industry, big industrial company. And she said, you know, I spent 2 days feeling really sorry for myself. Because it hurts to see the places, especially if someone's part of their worldview is also, I'm a successful person, right? If that's part of their worldview and they see places where they have beliefs and therefore actions that are out of alignment with them being a successful person, it's tough to look at. It's not comfortable, right? And so I usually, and this is not something that is that leaders tend to be very good at, I will often invite them to, like, hey, be gentle with yourself. I believe that we're all doing the best with what we know at all times, right? And you couldn't address it because you didn't see it. So how about a little bit of compassion for yourself? How about a little grace? How about you take the part of you that's held the belief, you know, I'm a disappointment, I'm in danger, and bring some love to it, the way you would bring some love to a little kid who, you know, fell off their bike and is hurting.
Yep.
Right. And that is something that, like, talk about shit we don't like to talk about. Oh no, tenderness in my leadership in business. Oh no. Right. But I'll tell you, when people actually do that, they become more whole.
And what does that look like? When a person becomes more whole, how does that show up?
Say a few things about it. One is the parts of them. One of my little sayings is, whatever you can't be with owns you.
Yeah.
Right. And so these are all areas of ourselves that, frankly, we don't like usually. We don't like to look at. We don't like to acknowledge. We like to keep it brushed under the rug. And so it keeps resurfacing like whack-a-mole. Right. And it takes time. It takes energy. It takes our attention. It takes money because of the money lost, because of the So when we can embrace parts of ourselves we don't like, we stop playing whack-a-mole, which frees up a ton of attention and time and energy, right? We can breathe more deeply. We don't have to spend all this time guarding against it. And it doesn't necessarily mean, Pat, that we don't feel it. So this conflict avoidant leader, right? He still feels nervous when he's recognizing, oh, here's some potential for conflict if I bring this up. And he takes a breath and he recognizes I am 56 years old, and the person across me is not my father. I
There you
am not
go.
going to get smacked in this moment. Awareness gives us choice. Pattism again, right? And then he takes a breath, feels a little bit nervous, and does it
Does
anyway.
it anyway.
That is courage. That is courage. Courage is not going, I am mighty. Courage is feeling the fear and moving through it.
Right. Right.
So guess what? Yeah, go ahead.
I want to get a little personal here.
Go for it.
Do you practice biz from the inside out, depth work in
Never.
your own life and in your leadership?
Sorry.
Oh, I got him on that one. No, those
do
are
my
often
best to.
questions we get is because, you do, but then we see the leader not walking their talk.
Yeah. I do my darndest to. I don't think I would be where I am at if I didn't. Even more, I don't think I'd be able to support my clients in the ways that I can.
Yeah.
How can I see a lot of this stuff? Because I have it in me, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And I've spent
Yep.
decades exploring it to be able to see it.
I get it.
You and I both support each other, and you're one of the people that can see. You're one of the most astute people I know around seeing where people are fooling themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why I think certain people feel threatened around you, because they can sense, oh shit, she can see right through me.
Right.
She can see my bullshit.
Right.
She can see, right? What they often aren't necessarily present to at the same time is how much love you have and how much care you have. And that if someone were to let you into their world and have you support them, how much care they would experience and being able to see that stuff. So I know I just flipped the conversation over to you. But
well, I was just getting ready to flip it back. So here we go.
Great. Go for it.
I want to know. No, we want to know. I want our audience to see that at least the people I associate with walk their talk.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? I hear all sorts of things, but I don't see people following up. How do you follow up? How do you walk your talk, Jeffrey?
What do you mean follow up?
You have an awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, yeah, that's nice, blah, blah, blah. Or do you practice some of these things you've been talking about? Giving it love, giving it sight. Do you give it grace and patience?
So I'm human.
Okay.
I don't like to feel this stuff any more than anybody else likes to. I don't like doing this. I don't find pleasure in it. I like the result.
Yeah, there you go.
I like the reward. I like how much I like myself now. Because Lord knows, growing up, I didn't really like myself. I really didn't. I had a horrendous self-concept growing up. And I hold myself with quite a lot of positive regard at this point in my life.
Oh my goodness.
Hi, baby.
This is Cammie.
Hi, Cammie.
Cammie is our podcast puppy.
Yeah.
And normally she stays down where she belongs. And sometimes she just has to say hello to everybody.
See,
so she
can feel the tenderness, and she's like, oh.
She picked the perfect guest to do this, by the way, because you're the only one that's on film with Cammie.
Yep. All right. Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Cammie. Cammie doing a cameo.
There you go. There you go.
So, here's what I'd say. I don't enjoy the process. When I have to feel difficult feelings, it's difficult for me, just the way it's difficult for anybody else. The thing that maybe is different for anybody that does it over time.
Yeah.
Is over time, you start to learn that you won't stay there, right? Like, I'm going to feel this. It's going to be tough. I might be in the muck for a while, but I'm not. History has taught me, right? I will move through this. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I will move through it. because I've moved through everything else. I've gotten
Yeah.
to the other side,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that belief is helpful to me. I won't always stay here. I can feel this. And I'll tell you, Pat, there are times when stuff emerges and I am in it for a while.
Oh, yeah.
You
I
know,
know
it's
that.
not like, oh, awareness and now presto changeo. No. Oftentimes different wounds or different challenges are multifaceted, like different sides of a diamond, right? There's a few things to pick apart and to learn and to grow from. And then I do my darndest to find places specifically to practice it and apply it. So for example, if it were conflict avoidance, I intentionally go, ooh, and look, conflict avoidance was a thing that used to be a much bigger challenge for me than it is now.
Yeah.
And then I practice this. I practice reveling in the opportunity. Now, I don't start there. I usually start feeling shitty about it, wanting to avoid it, not wanting to feel it, then recognizing I am prolonging it because I'm not feeling it, then usually reaching out to different people in my world for support to move through it, right? And eventually getting to this place where I intentionally practice. So, conflict avoidance. Oh, I need to fire somebody. I don't know how this is going to go. I don't want to rip this Band-Aid off. I don't know the ramifications or the ripple effect of letting this person go and how it might ripple out into the rest of the team or company. And then I go, oh, look, this is a place to practice courage.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
Here's an opportunity.
It's that old awareness gives you choice.
Yeah.
You're aware that you're in conflict avoidance and you can make a choice.
And I would say around certain things, I can move more quickly from awareness to choice. And around other things that are deeper, I can't, it's not a 1-2 punch. It's like awareness. Then I have to go in and address where it came from and where it lives in me and how the multiple tentacles it has in my world, how it shows in my relationship, how it shows in my and then I can get to choice.
Got it. So, Jeffrey, what are 2 concepts or 2 ideas that you would love to have our audience walk away with today?
I don't know if this is a concept, but it won't kill you.
No,
like,
I hear you.
Doing this stuff won't kill you.
May feel like it sometimes, but
I get it. I've never seen it happen yet.
Well, I haven't seen it in the 45 years I've been doing the work either, so we're probably pretty safe, yeah.
So as far as I know, it won't kill you. And that may sound trite, but the reality is we often feel like it will.
Yeah, for
right?
Sure. For sure.
And the truth, it may rearrange your world when everything changes in relationship to that thing. Yeah, it may rearrange your world. This business I talked about, they let go of these people, these 2 executive team members. It's going to rearrange things in the company. And it might be rocky for a little bit. Right?
Okay. So second concept, Jeffrey, that you want our people to walk away with. Or aha, if you want to rephrase it.
I don't know if it's an aha or what, but it can be fun.
Only if you're warped, Jeffrey. And I'm kidding.
Well, I am kind of, right? But I'm competitive. And a lot of successful people in business are competitive, right? And a lot of the sports I were in were individual sports like swimming, right? So you're essentially, the biggest thing you're competing against is yourself, right? your own sense of limitations where you give up on yourself, etc. Right? Am I going to take that next stroke and keep going, or I'm going to give up on myself? I love turning it into a game. When I bump it up into something that feels crunchy and uncomfortable and like, oh shit, here it is, I rub my hands together and go, oh good, here we go. I turn it from oh shit to oh yeah,
And
right?
so, how long does it take you to get from awareness to, all right, here we go?
Once I really know what I'm up against, right? Like what and where specifically it shows up in my life and in my business. Because when around all this stuff, we don't just practice it one place. We practice
Oh,
it,
God, no. Yeah.
right? You practice it at home, you practice
Yeah.
it everywhere you
Yeah.
are. So when I specifically know certain places that it shows up, then I keep my eyes out for it. I put my antenna up. I do my best to intentionally look out for it. And when I see it, right? Oh, here, let's take the disappointment thing. Oh, I could really fail at this thing. I have no idea if this next idea, it's a cool idea. I'm excited about it, and it could totally bomb. And the only way to find out is to go do it.
And
All right.
I will also add to that. You've been my coach for many years.
Yeah.
I think 11 or 12 by now. Is there's times when I can't get to that fun place very quickly. There's
God, no.
times when you tell me to have fun with it or make a game out of it that I want to tell you to go shin up. Yeah, exactly. It's usually my glasses needing adjusting. And and so I'm saying that only so that people know it's not at, when you're talking about it there and you're excited about it, I'm going, yeah, I ain't buying it, dude.
Yeah.
Just know that it's not, that
Here's
isn't
what I'd say.
instantaneous.
When it comes to other people coaching you, for example,
I love that.
right? Here's the deal. When it comes to coaching other people, part of my excitement is I can see what's going to be on the other side of it for you.
Right.
I am more present to the payoff usually than my client is.
Well, yeah, because
right?
we don't know what the payoff's going to be.
Right. And at this point in my career, like I've seen a lot of it. So I've seen the payoff time and time again. So my belief structure that there is one, and oftentimes having a sense of what it will be, is stronger.
But even for yourself?
It's harder for myself. Look, I've got my own support structures, right?
Absolutely.
Coaches, etc. So there are people I call on when I'm just in it and I can't see the forest for the trees.
So the reason I keep bringing it back to that is I'm sitting here listening to you and watching you, and it feels like, or it seems like you just just go right through this stuff. Piece of cake. Oh, I do this, this, and this, and it's fun, and I've got an adventure. And you do. But I also want folks to know that you weren't here on day one, and that it takes a lot of practice to work up to this. You're what, 25 years into this? Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. And like I say, you make it sound, I'm not criticizing, believe me, but you make it sound so easy. And I'm clear it doesn't have to be hard, but I want them to see the other side too.
I will say it doesn't have to be hard, but it often is.
Okay, right? There you go. All right.
Meaning, I don't know many people, at least in the West or in the US. We don't talk about emotions much in our culture.
Oh, Lord, no. Yeah.
We don't have much language for it. A lot of people, their language for emotions is I'm pissed or I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Right? I'm fine or I'm mad. Yeah. Like that's it. That's the whole extent. Not I'm feeling disappointment. Not I'm feeling elation. And not like the whole rainbow in between. So part of this is just like it's territory we don't go too much.
Yeah.
And so just that on its own makes it hard. just the way, like, I go to the gym 4 times a week, right? And I don't go there because it's easy. And sometimes it's fun. Sometimes I get that, like, oh, here's the challenge, right? But it's not fun every day, but it is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It is a
I
choice
just
I
wanted
make.
folks to see both sides of it. And thank you for that.
Mhm.
So I'm watching the clock here and I don't want to get kicked out of the studio before we finish. So here's the dealie. You get 2 sentences for closing today. What do you got?
Doing this work is the greatest gift you will give, not only to yourself, but to everyone you touch, from your team members to your colleagues to your community to your grandchildren.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being here. This was so fun. We could probably turn this into a series because I know how we like to talk about it and how we like to give examples, but that's not where we're at yet. Jeffrey, thank you so much.
My privilege. Thank you for inviting
And
me.
guess what? We will see you next week on Business Badass Revolution. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to another episode of Business Badass Revolution. Remember, as you're walking through your work week, being an entrepreneur shouldn't suck. Remember to like, share, follow, and subscribe. And oh, by the way, leave us a 5-star review. See you next time.